Welcome back to East Coast DNA. For longtime fans of the show, some people may recognize some of the background. This is the second time that we've recorded at Below Deck, just below the Pint on Argyle here in Halifax. So today, here live in Halifax, we have two Nova Scotia Community College students. We have mentioned the music programs at the Nova Scotia Community College several times throughout the last few years of this show. Always a lot of interesting students going through the program with interesting projects on the go. And we have two here today to talk about NOVAFest. So welcome, Kelsey and Willum. And maybe, Willum, you have the mic if you want to do a quick little intro to yourself, and then Kelsey will get you to do the same, and then we'll get right into what you're doing with NOVAFest up here in the city.
Thank you. Well, I'm Willum. I am from Antigua originally, and I came here to study. I'm currently at NSCC in my second year doing music arts as a vocalist. And, just kind of getting into the scene right now and getting into NOVAFest, really, trying to make it happen.
Awesome.
And I'm originally from Truro, Nova Scotia. I just moved up here for school. I'm in my second year of the music arts program as well. And I'm very excited to be working with NOVAFest this year, have a little bit of hands-on with the project. So, yeah, can't wait to tell you all about it.
And so NOVAFest, for myself, I am aware of it, being that I have a music podcast on the East Coast. I should be aware of it. More so, I was aware of it last year, but I did not attend it. So I am a little excited to hear a little bit more about it too. So maybe to start off with, when is the event? We've already said that it's in Halifax, so we're in the HRM area. But when is the event being held this year?
Of course, yeah. So the event is running from April 23rd to May 23rd throughout all of Halifax and Dartmouth there. We're going to try and stay very central this year. Do you have anything to add, Willum?
Yes, and we are having 24 shows that will be publicly accessible. There'll be a combination of paid and free shows, well, ticketed and free shows. And it's going to be in the central area, as you said. We're trying to hit up more of the hot spots this year. We last year we were a bit scattered about, so to speak. And we're trying to really get people to come out,
And so the venue selection for an event like this, like you have so many events, obviously you can pick a lot of different venues, so there's a lot of people involved here. But did your class go out and reach out to all these venues individually? It's not just an annual thing where you're definitely going to have the same venues. You guys have to put the legwork in for this as well.
Yeah, definitely. So NOVAFest itself is almost completely student run and organized. We do have assistance from the professors at NSCC when necessary, but the work term itself, which is NOVAFest, is student run and organized, and we do all of the outreach, we do all of the booking of shows. And so every year we compile a separate list and go through the whole process again of like, okay, where do we want to book this year? Where do we want to go? And how's that going to work out? So this year we do have a nice variety of venues for different styles of music and just different atmospheres and everything. We have some that are single show venues, and we have some that are like a recurring series throughout the work term.
Cool. And is there a mixture then as well of like listening room type establishments, and then maybe something that little grungier for some of the rock bands?
Yes, exactly, definitely. So we have some, and of course it's catered more towards who is going to be performing at that venue, right? And or vice versa. Some venues who really wanted to book in, really wanted to perform in, and said, well, who's really going to fit the best here?
Yeah.
So we did some, mixing, matching to make sure that would work out. That we have some really nice venues to set the atmosphere for some jazz, and then we have some others that's like, as you say, a little bit darker, more colorful, more grungier for like rock, singer, songwriter, that kind of vibe. So.
And now, between the two of you, I don't know who wants to take this one, but as far as the artists, like that's going to be the most important draw for people. Now, I do have to caution for people watching this, I get really excited when it's new bands. So when you hear all the names, don't be listening for like the top tier Grammy Award winners that you hear about all the time on the radio. We're looking for Halifax scene people. Do you have anyone from outside the city, or is it all regional?
We have Andre Pettipaw actually coming to do a show with us on May 15th at the Oasis. And he's from the New Glasgow area. So we're very excited to have him come in and play a show with us this time around. Outside of that, I don't believe we have anyone from outside of the area. Everyone else is pretty Halifax central. Oh, do we?
Oh, well, I shouldn't say not from outside of the areas and flying in or traveling into performers. We do have some people who are not originally from Halifax who will be performing. We have the Million Vibes crew, Snack Sessions, performing with us, headlining for our first opening show on April 23rd.
Cool.
So that's going to be a Renier, KO, and some other nice performers there. Right? For the most part, it is going to be local scene members, though, right? Of different genres, different styles. Some are going to be some of the bigger artists that you know of in the city. And then some are going to be more up-and-coming artists. And we're also having some headliners from recently formed bands of former and current alumni and students.
That's exciting. Now, I do want to go through a little bit more detail in what's specifically happening. So if there's other people watching this that want all the detail right now, what's the best place for them to go online to get details about what's happening?
So because it is a student-run organization, we don't necessarily have a website. We do have an Eventbrite, which will have all of our events posted, of course. And we do have Facebook, Instagram, as well as TikTok if you want to find us that way. So we are findable.
Awesome.
Right? And it will be March NOVAFest.
And East Coast DNA will have as much information as we can acquire, and in the description for this episode there should be plenty of information for people that are watching this right now. Now, you had mentioned Andre Pettipaw, which obviously fans of the show are aware that I'm familiar with that artist myself, and I was talking to you about this earlier too. You and I are aware of each other through this venue because Andre was hosting an open mic here throughout the winter, and you were one of the regulars at the open mic. So I was fortunate enough to capture many performances from you of your originals, some covers, and some performances with Andre as well. So that's personally exciting for me to see that you're hosting an event with your friends and colleagues here, and that Andre is involved as an extra bonus. So I'm hoping that I get up to the city for as many of these as possible. Not sure if I can get up for as many as you're hosting, because that's like a whole solid month of coming up to the city.
It's a lot of them, yeah.
Is there any nights that you're performing? That's not a question I asked beforehand, but I'm aware that you're a performer.
Yeah, there are a lot of shows that I will be at over the course of the month. I am in 4 of the different ensembles that we have at the school.
Awesome.
So I will be performing anywhere that our funk and choir and songwriting ensembles will be. I will also be anywhere that our Latin ensemble Groovera will be. So for the first little bit of the month, we have a show at Gus's Pub on the 26th of April. And that will have our songwriting ensembles, so mine and one other, as well as I believe the rock ensemble is going to be there too. So it'll be a good show.
Awesome. That was a bigger answer than I expected. I was waiting for you to go, well, no, not really. But yeah,
no, I'm in a lot of things.
Over.
I'm all over the place. And then
That's
when
awesome.
I'm not going to be playing, I will be at a lot of the venues as well, doing volunteer work and working door, managing different aspects of the shows.
And maybe I'll ask Willum, just so we kind of go back and forth. You had mentioned that outside of it being student-run, that some of the teachers, professors from the community college have helped out as well. Anyone that's heard me reference these music programs at the community colleges before has heard me give shout-outs to some of those specific people. I'm curious in this case if there's any names you can drop, because typically I find that the people that are instructing the music programs at the Nova Scotia Community College anyway are people that I'm aware of from the music scene on the East Coast, which makes sense, but it's also super awesome. And as a music nerd, I love to hear the name drops, because I'm like, oh, like you hear Craig Mercer's name, and you're like, oh, I remember going out and watching him back in the day, and it's great to see he's still out there and that he's helping new people. So, maybe a couple names if you got a couple ready.
For sure. I mean, our main instructors are Tom Easley and Jeff Goodspeed. Jeff Goodspeed plays at Lion's Head Jazz every Sunday, if you've ever been there. I can guarantee you've seen him. as well as James Shaw. James Shaw teaches our funk ensemble, as well as teaches some of our classes at the moment as well, filling in. Pardon? Yeah, and Stephanie Pronk, of course, our music business teacher, who is being so instrumental in helping us organize this festival. So much love to Stephanie, of course.
Awesome.
And Jody from the Melatones as well.
Oh, cool.
She's our R&B ensemble.
Awesome. And now kind of going a little deeper into where people can catch the music too.
Mm-hmm.
We mentioned that it's a number of venues, and I'm not expecting you to be able to list off like 24 venues off the top of your head.
You'd be surprised.
But yeah, that is kind of the challenge. How many of those venues can you name?
Okay. Well, the first show is going to be at the Garden Restaurant on Queen. And that will have our R&B band, our funk band, and the snack sessions, Million Vibes crew. And then we'll have a show at Gus's, of course. We'll have a show at Buffalo Club. We'll have a series at Oasis every Wednesday. At Woodside, of course. Yeah, we'll have a series at Woodside as well. I'll show Woodside. And we'll have shows at Garrison, or a show at Garrison. We'll have 2 at Radstorm, which is an all-ages venue on Gottingen Street.
Oh, shout out to Radstorm, too. The
Yes.
last episode before this was actually, it would be over by now, but there was a fundraiser in Truro for the food bank, and it was kind of inspired by Radstorm. As far as like who's playing and the whole vibe and stuff. So I definitely want to give a shout out to Radstorm. I have not been, but I feel like I should have been.
Yeah, much love to Radstorm. They've been very helpful for us in organizing just spaces and also offering to assist us with other things as well. So Radstorm for sure. Where else am I forgetting right now? The Lion's Head. Every Sunday we will be at the Lion's Head. You will see us at the Lion's Head. And we're having a show at the library as well.
I just want to add on to those Lionhead shows for a second. So those are really cool because Jeff Goodspeed runs those every Sunday as is. But for the end of April, all through the month of May, he's going to be hosting what we're going to call sit-in sessions, essentially, with the MART students and with our ensembles. And so we'll have specific nights that are to the ensembles playing, so genre specific. And so there's a Latin night, there'll be a jazz night, and then we'll just have like vocalist featured, bass featured nights as well. So if you're interested in jazz in any way, shape, or form, definitely come out to those nights. It'll be a really unique experience.
And one more to add, we will also be performing at Pacifico for a night opening for the Melatones.
Oh, sweet.
So that would be a great show to catch for sure. And of course, our final show will be the Spark event at Lighthouse. So, and Roxy and the Underground Soul Sound is going to be headlining for us
sweet.
there. So that's gonna be really sweet.
I've been meaning to get out and see Roxy. A friend and friend of the show as well had invited me out to see them a few weeks ago, and I missed it. So I'm glad that I have the opportunity to catch up.
You definitely do. And you'll see all of us at once, too.
Awesome. And when you mentioned the library, just for anyone that's maybe not super familiar with the area, you're talking about the Halifax Library just down the street
The
from where
Halifax
we are tonight.
Central on Spring Garden, yeah.
And so anyone that's watching this, if you go scroll through the live shot videos, there's one from the Gilberts from about a year ago, and it was recorded there. When you watch it, you're like, oh, like it just happens to be a library. Yeah. You have no idea that you're in a library when you're watching a performance there.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's a beautiful hall.
We're not surrounded by books the whole time.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like a full sit down, got a full stage and bleachers and everything. So it's a full show.
And actually, since we're on that topic, and you would know, Radstorm, where I hadn't been in before, I'm aware that from the Gottingen Street side to enter, there's kind of a smaller area to get in. What kind of capacity? Like, is there a big area in the back for bands to perform?
It's not a massive space. Like if you're thinking of coming to a large venue, when you think of Radstorm, it's more like going into a spacious house, kind of. So
is it comparable to the Bus Stop Theater, which is just on the same street?
I've actually never been in the West Top Theater. I don't know the answer to that. I would say like you come in and there's a large entryway, so you can fit, I'd say probably 100, 120 people in there.
Okay, fair size then, yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be a little bit tight, but
yeah.
Yeah.
But that'd be like the maximum you could fit in there, including bands and gear and stuff as well. So it's not a huge space, but it's really cozy and it's a great all ages venue, which is the best part about Radstorm.
Yeah, and that's what I'm really excited about is and extending from that NOVAFest, despite the fact that there's many venues that do serve alcohol, and I'm not 100% against it. I have a stout in my hand. But I tend to shy away from promoting the alcohol for a lot of these events, even though I know that that's what's paying for a lot of it.
Absolutely.
So I've loosened my position a little bit, but I'm a huge champion of the all ages event. So I'm very happy to hear that NOVAFest has that component.
We were talking about that a little bit when trying to decide where to book venues this year, was how many all ages shows could we do, where could we do them, because we know that a large demographic of people that come out to shows now are young people that want to get involved in the music scene. And the more accessible that we can make our music, the more likely they're going to come and pursue something like that. They realize it's not inaccessible to them as young people. And so Radstorm, the library, places like that are so crucial to the music scene. And so we're just really happy that they're allowing us to play there and to showcase our talent and our music for these new musicians, possibly.
Now, do you know me a little bit? So being from Glasgow, you've heard me talk about the venues there. That's one thing that I always liked promoting about the Shoebox Cantina, especially during the beginning years of me doing this. They were local, and that's where the cool Halifax bands usually end up playing when they come to my hometown. So it was a great place to go. But up to a certain point of night, it is a restaurant, so I can bring my teenage daughter there. So it's essentially has an all ages component up until like 10 o'clock at night and into Glasgow. Most things are closed by then, so that's awesome for that area. I'm super happy that Halifax has areas that are a little bit more dedicated to it, so that you can have a lot of all ages shows. And I'm really happy to hear that you guys have included them in what you're doing and didn't just stick to like, well, what bars should we have it at? Like that's the obvious thing to do, is to just have it at just bars. And we're in one. Nothing wrong with that. I'm staying for the performance today from Andre Petitpas as well. So obviously that's something I would like to do, but these all ages ones are super exciting. I'd like to promote those as much as possible. If you have any more all ages shows in the future, definitely pop me a line too.
For sure, I 100% will. I just want to quickly add on to that, adding on to that we're performing for young people as well. We will be performing at different schools as well, which won't necessarily be open to the public, of course, but that is part of the purpose of our music festival, and part of our work team is to introduce young people to the opportunity to play music and say, okay, well, you know, people don't just materialize and all of a sudden they're performers. You know, they have to go through a process and have to go through opportunities and everything to grow. And so they see us coming from, you know, student backgrounds and trying to get into the industry. And this year we're trying to marry that purpose with the purpose of getting ourselves in contact with the industry as well and more involved. Because previously we've never had headliners. We've only ever had just the student bands performing. But this year we said, you know what, let's shake it up a little bit and let's make it more of a name this year.
That's super exciting idea.
As opposed to just having NOVAFest be an event that happens every year and, you know, it just happens. You want to make it something that people expect every year, right?
I'm actually just going to add something real quick. We're so focused this year on making sure people know that NOVAFest is back in bold. That is our theme this year, and we are so excited to just promote it in a new light, to have different opportunities presented to us and opportunities to just play more and expand to larger audiences. Even by having bigger names come play with us, we're not only getting the experience from watching them, learning from them, but also being able to reach their audiences and maybe introduce people to what we do at the school. And I find that that's an amazing little experience for us to be doing.
Well, funny enough, and this is not intentional, which anyone watching it knows that this wasn't super planned out, but that's kind of the way that this show has developed over the years, is that we will focus on some of the bigger name artists, but the real intention of getting some bigger names in is to draw attention to some of the newcomers. So this show is really about what's going on out there in the music industry. What can I go out to do to have a good time and go catch some music? But who are the new players out there? Like, what is new music? Like, if I'm going out to the bar and I don't know who any of these bands are, chances are it's not because they're no good. It's because they're brand new and I just haven't heard them yet. They could be my new favorite band. So these events are excellent for that. It's great to be able to promote your own thing that you're doing. It's great for the experience. Like you mentioned, you're collaborating with a lot of different groups within the school as well. So you're going to get everybody a little bit of experience so they can get out there and be professional. I know outside of this conversation, somebody recently had a conversation with me about this type of thing, and kind of the whole fake it till you make it type thing. And I used to subscribe to that a little bit myself, but over the last couple of years I realized from talking with others on the outside and what they've seen, it's not faking it at all. It's doing it until people have the expectation that you know how to do it. You are doing it, and you're both doing it right now, despite the fact that you're still taking the program where you're learning how to do this type of thing. So I know, Kelsey, because we've talked, I know that you still have a little bit left of the program to complete next year. I'm curious, Willum, are you finished this year, or do you have another year left?
Well, I'm finished this program this year, the music arts program, but I am thinking of taking the music business program next year following. Because we have
I wouldn't shy you away from it at all. It sounds like an excellent program.
I think that's a very wise, decision for everyone who's really thinking about, even if you can't take a music business program, it's definitely something to be educated on if you're trying to get into the industry in some capacity. And for our work team, we are collaborating with the music business program, as well as collaborating with the photography program at NSCC and the music productions. And we're being assisted by some of the graphic design program personnel, and it's like dipping into every pot and be like, how can we all get work done?
And having collaboration between the music programs, because there's a few different options for, especially for anyone out there that's maybe thinking of going to college. There's a few different streams that you could take there. Mm-hmm. But the other groups that you're mentioning in graphic design and photography, like they are focused on the art of graphic design and the art of photography, not necessarily in the music capacity. So it's cool for you to pull them into the loop as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of people don't really think about how much goes into putting on a show and how much goes into putting on a production. And it's one thing to be able to perform. It's another thing to be able to organize it. It's another thing to be able to market it. Mm-hmm. It's another thing to be able to produce materials that make people want to go.
Yes.
Right? And getting all of that involved, getting all these different people involved, different programs involved, is kind of teaching ourselves that, okay, this is really what goes into this. And it also teaches, well, I shouldn't say teach, but it also opens those other people in those programs to say, oh, these are other aspects that I can dip into. And these are other venues that I can say, oh, I don't have to just do this style of photography, this style of graphic design. There are also people that I can work with in order to make those things happen. Yeah,
and I'm personally biased. Obviously, I dip my toes into those categories a little bit without having the formal education. Mm-hmm. So my bias is that I'm a huge music fan, so of course I like that they would be involved. But I do believe, outside of my own personal bias, that if you're getting into graphic design or photography as a career choice, the artistic side of it, tying it in with the music thing, gives you so many opportunities to try so many different things. You can be very standard in your approach and do what people expect, or you can think outside of the box and go full rock star, punk style, whatever you want. You can really, you can take it weird angles, you can use weird filters, you can design different logos for people. There's so many different things. It's great, especially at the student level, to give you that opportunity. And I think this is our sign that we're going to wrap up and catch Andre Petitpas today before the NOVAFest. And we'll have a lot of details down in the description for everyone, and we'll post closer to the event as well.
Yes, of course. And if you like what you're hearing, come to our show and see Andre Petitpas live yourself in the flesh.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
when I drift away into the night, picture me live through thick and thin, making me give me something to get rid of it. Now you know, now I feel a bit tired, not really like my style. Is this what I want? Feel a bit homesick. Give me something to